Hey, dude. Yeah, so we should be recording now. So this is pretty interesting. This is the first time that somebody has challenged me to a debate. I usually just invite people to debate me, discuss me for fun. So it should be more challenging because I presume you're gonna be a little bit more prepared than the people I usually debate. So do you mind telling me a little bit about that backstory? Like, how did you find out about me, and why did you decide to challenge me to a debate?
Just interesting. I have previous many debates but in Reddit, and I have decided uh, to have debates online.
Okay, so you just find this kinds of debates interesting.
Yeah.
Cool, man. So we agreed on a debate proposition. The debate proposition is veganism is morally superior, right? We agree on that debate
Or
proposition.
obligation or superior doesn't matter. I think so.
I actually made a mistake here. The debate proposition we had previously agreed on was, is veganism morally obligatory? He said he didn't mind, but the thing we are going to be debating is veganism morally obligatory? Was my mistake there. What did you say?
How are you hearing me? Maybe I need to use my earphones. No.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I rather you use headphones.
Okay.
Are you there?
Yeah. How are you hearing me now?
Yeah, I hear you. So yeah, we agree on the debate proposition. Veganism is morally superior. That's what we're gonna be debating.
Okay.
Okay, so
So
let's clarify some terms. Let's do we agree on the definition of veganism? What does veganism mean to you? How do you define it personally?
I know definition, but I don't uh, don't remember it exactly. Can you say it?
Sure. Yeah. So the definition of veganism is a way or philosophy of life which seeks to exclude all forms of animal cruelty and exploitation as far as possible and practicable. So that's the official definition from the Vegan Society website. So do we agree on that definition?
Okay. I just have few questions about that definition.
Of course,
So,
yeah. Let's clarify it. Yeah, ask me whatever you want.
what means possible and practicable?
Okay, I take that to mean that we could just survive and be healthy and don't not have any problems without using the products of animals. So it's possible for us to be healthy and and thrive on a plant-based diet, and not only on a plant-based diet, but also without using the products of animals. So in clothing, without using animals for entertainment, etc.
Oh, okay, why you choose such such line?
Can you repeat that again?
Why you choose this line that is practicable? Because I can choose another line. For example, I can say I am vegan by this definition uh, by eating meat because I choose line draw here. Understand arbitrary lines because what is needed depend on different people. For one person, it is needed to drive car. For another, it's not needed.
Yeah, and I would agree with that. Yeah, like if, for example, somebody absolutely needed to, like to survive, for example, there's not any other options for that person. I would take that person to still be vegan under that definition. He's just avoiding unnecessary animal exploitation as far as is possible to him. Is necessary for his survival. So in that case it would be justified, but in the case of somebody who had all the options and could just pick something different from the menu, then I would say we have the obligation to choose the option that causes less suffering and exploitation of animals.
But why?
Sure,
Because
we could get into that. Yeah, so But like, let's first agree on the definition. Are we
Yeah,
gonna
okay.
use that definition?
Because from this definition, I have problems because it is arbitrary. Do you understand? It's arbitrary, subjective, depends on person.
Yeah, I take morality to be subjective.
Yeah,
But we don't need to get into the meta ethics, because I presume that you already hold certain moral views. Like, for example,
no.
I take you believe in human rights, for example. I just think veganism extends logically from moral views that we already have.
Mm, but why choose surviving over not surviving? Because you want to live?
Yeah, like I take life to be valuable. Yeah, I want to be alive. I want to be healthy, to
Yeah.
thrive. So
So it is,
if I can do those things without harming animals, why harm animals?
yeah, it's arbitrary also. Other can take not surviving.
Yeah, like I could say that about anything. Like, if morality is subjective and arbitrary, I can say that about anything. I could say that about human rights. Like, not killing people is arbitrary, but that it being arbitrary doesn't mean that it isn't useful, and it isn't uh, it isn't wrong to kill people needlessly, for example.
But needlessly is also arbitrary. All things is arbitrary, so it is hard to defend veganism.
Of course, all these things are arbitrary, but we already, I assume that you already bootstrap morality for certain things, like you believe in human rights. So I just want to know if, from your personal moral views, veganism extends logically from the views that you already hold arbitrarily.
Oh, no.
Did you hear that question?
No, it's not extend from human rights.
Yeah, but let's have, that's the debate proposition. So let's see if it extends logically, or if or if your views contain some contradictions and inconsistencies. So, by the way, can I send you the definition so you can read it, and maybe it would be more clarifying if you can read it by yourself, the definition. I'm gonna send you the link really quick.
I just not used to Discord, and you need to push to talk. So sometimes I cut.
Yeah, there we go. So I send you the definition. You don't need to read it into the microphone. So if you want, you just read it really quick. It's pretty short, and let's then see if we agree on using that definition specifically.
Okay, I agree.
Okay, so let's just see if veganism extends logically from your moral views. So that's what I'm interested about. So the debate proposition is that veganism is a moral obligation. So do you believe in moral obligations? Are certain acts moral obligations to you outside of veganism?
Can you repeat it? I don't understand.
Yeah, so the question, the debate proposition is if veganism is a moral obligation. So my question is, do you already believe in that you have certain moral obligations, for example, towards other people?
So okay, I would say yes to this question, but I want to say one thing.
Sure.
You're making a positive claim about this veganism is moral obligation, so you need to prove. By asking him questions, you will not prove this proposition. Do you understand?
Yes, I understand. I just want some clarifications in your own views to see if veganism extends logically from your views.
My views is irrelevant. You need for all people to prove that veganism is a moral obligation,
No, not. I don't
independent
think.
of my views or another views.
No, I don't think it is irrelevant at all. So I'm just interested in your views, because I
Okay.
don't agree. I don't agree that morality is objective. So what I want to know is that, from your personal views on morality, if veganism extends logically, and if you're being inconsistent in not being a vegan from your moral views. That's what I'm interested about.
So what my moral views?
Sure, like, so tell me a little bit about your moral views. For example, do you think it's a moral obligation not to harm other people? Like, for example, not to kill somebody needlessly or something?
Yeah, I think so that humans shouldn't harm humans.
Okay, and you would be against a human holocaust, for example, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and presumably you don't think an animal holocaust is wrong. So my question to you is, what is the morally significant difference there that it justifies, in your views, to holocaust animals but not holocaust humans?
Humans.
Okay, can you? What did you say?
Humans. This difference is humans. If you're asking for trait, it is human.
Okay, so the trait difference would be human.
Yeah.
Okay, so you take the view that it is morally okay to harm needlessly anything that is not a human.
Mm,
By the way,
to
like
harm? What?
let's define that really quick. I think it would be useful if you define what do you mean by human.
Human is human. I cannot define exactly what is human.
Yeah, but are you saying
Some
like
kind of uh, traits that make human.
sure? So do you define human in biological terms? Like you're referring to the species Homo sapiens, and having human DNA makes you a human?
Yeah, probably, yes.
Okay, so let me ask you this: do you think it is okay to for example, if somebody had a different DNA from you, and let's hypothetically say that somebody was different enough from you that it would fall under the category of not being a biological human anymore. So let's something else like a Neanderthal or something. Do you think it would be okay to kill and eat that being needlessly
What mean needlessly?
if you had other options available to you?
Oh, but I can harm it. No?
What do you mean?
Needless is arbitrary. When you say needless, you assume you add additional premise in your questions.
Sure.
So
Okay.
you
Let's
need to
remove.
prove always
I agree.
explain.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
So it's
this
problematic.
unnecessary. Vegans often use this unnecessary, and this is just additional premise in the question.
I agree with that.
Yeah, it is very unfair.
Okay, so let's remove that word because you're right. Like from a philosophical point of view, it's really like vague and arbitrary. So let's not use that word at all. Let's just say stab that person for hamburgers. Would it be justified if that person didn't have human DNA? He was like exactly like us in every other way, but he didn't have human DNA. Would it be okay to stab that person for hamburgers?
I don't know if as human, if he don't have human DNA, will be like us, like will appearance like us, like humans.
Let's just say that the difference was very minimal, but it was
Uh,
enough that he couldn't interbreed with us because from a biological point of view, a species only means that you can interbreed with members of that group. So if you can't interbreed with members of that group, it would be considered another species in
we can,
terms of natural selection.
but where does the difference? Because we can interbreed with how is Darcy, how is called this old human, which was from N uh, this ancestor of humans that you have said. How is called?
Not the ancestor. Like Neanderthals are like our biological cousins. They're not
Yeah,
exactly ancestors. They're like another species of humans that existed.
yeah. With another species of humans which existed, we can interbreed with them.
Sure, I think yeah, like there's debate about that, like whether we could
We
interbreed
have
with
we
Neanderthals.
have genes of that species in our genomes.
Sure, but let's say this is we couldn't interbreed. Like it was different enough from us that we couldn't interbreed anymore. So like I don't know, like any animal like that looks like each other, like can't interbreed for some reason.
But it will still be. I'm not sure about this hypothetical because interbreed. I need to see that human and say.
I mean, let's
If,
just say
if,
let's just say hypothetically. Let's just stay hypothetically. Let's say
I,
that
I don't accept hypotheticals that cannot be applied in this reality.
okay.
For
Do you
example,
see do you let me ask you something really quick. Do
for
you see the
example, vegans use if alien comes, do you will eat with aliens because and so on. So I will ask to prove that aliens exist. If you cannot prove that they exist in this reality, how this hypothetical applies to our reality in which we live? I have
let me ask
problem
you a
with that.
question about that. Let me challenge you about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you see the use? Do you see the importance in using hypotheticals in philosophy?
If they not apply to our reality, I don't.
The
That,
reason I'm using hypotheticals is because they get to your values. They reveal what your true values are. So I asked you what the morally significant difference is. You said humanity. So I used that hypothetical to change the reality and to change like the trait of that person in order to make him not human anymore. And you can't answer me that question because you're saying it doesn't apply to reality. My question is not if it applies to reality, but I just want to get to the core of what you value exactly. And it
but
seems like you don't value humanity. You don't value human DNA per se. You value something else. I just want to get to know what is that you value.
mm, uh, I haven't explained. Just what trying to do, what you get from this, will not apply to our reality. We all have hypotheticals.
That doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter for me because you get, for example, some kind of end conclusion, but it not apply our our reality. But it is
Yeah, I'm not trying to examine what applies to our reality. I'm trying to get to the core of what you value.
humanity,
Okay, you value humanity. So you
humans.
define, and do we agree that the humanity should be defined in biological terms, like for example having human DNA and having the ability to interbreed? Do we agree on that definition?
It is more traits. Some traits is human property is emergent property. It can make up from other traits, but not all traits is needed. But sometimes we.
Sorry about that. The discussion will continue in just a moment without further interruption. The recorder just stopped working again for some reason. I will try to fix this technical issue for further debates. Fortunately, it doesn't happen again in this discussion. Not much of the conversation was lost. He was just simply explaining how he defines human, but we ended up agreeing with the biological definition. Here's the rest of it. I don't know what the hell is wrong with this robot, man. It's the second time that it happens to me, that it just drops off out of nowhere. It's so annoying.
Yeah, I've seen.
Yeah, it's so like I hope we didn't lose that much of the conversation. Like I recorded another conversation and I lost a big chunk, like 10 minutes of the conversation. Like
Yeah,
it's annoying, man. So I think I need to find another thing.
yeah,
Yeah. So where were we at right now? You were asking if this creature, this hypothetical creature, if it has human DNA.
yeah.
No, it doesn't have human DNA. Do you still call it a human?
And what's his appearance?
Let's say he looked exactly like the humans that are here right now, but his DNA was different enough that we couldn't interbreed with it. It wouldn't be classified biologically as a Homo sapiens anymore. Call it something else. I don't know, Homo whatever. So, but it's not a human.
Yeah, but can you prove that without human DNA, that creature will appear like human?
Sure, man. Like there were on other species of humans in the past, like of Homo, of the genus Homo. Like there weren't Homo sapiens. Some of them couldn't interbreed with us. Like, do you agree that
Are
species
you
like
sure
this
that
existed in the past?
we can not cannot interbreed with that species?
I mean, I'm not a evolutionary biologist, but I'm pretty. I don't see why it couldn't happen. Like from a biological point of view, is like this is the way the species form. They get to a point where they can't interbreed anymore, and there were other species of humans around in the past that they weren't specifically Homo sapiens. So do you agree that species like that existed in the past?
Maybe. I don't know.
Sure. So let's say that hypothetically they existed and they still exist for some reason. Let's say we find some of these creatures in an island somewhere. They still exist. They're not humans in by your definition. They don't have DNA. They can't interbreed with us, but they looked, exactly like us. They had sapiens. They had high intelligence, but they just weren't biological humans. Do you think it would be okay to open a hamburger like industry in that island and holocaust them to death for burgers? Would you say that's justified, or you wouldn't say that's morally right?
I don't understand. We have these people. If we don't have our DNA, it will be different. Will be not human anymore.
I mean, not necessarily. Like, for example, there's species right now that looked a lot like each other, but they can't interbreed.
How so? Because we have different skulls, different anatomy. We are not humans.
No, let's say that anatomically they were identical. Like they're
No,
just
I
the
think so
DNA
that
just.
we will not anatomical the same like us. If we
Okay,
change, if we change, we DNA.
okay, man. Let's say hypothetically, like they were identical. They just had a tail or something like that. Like they couldn't interbreed with us because of that difference in DNA. They were their skulls were exactly like us. Their intelligence was exactly like us. Their social abilities were exactly like ours. But like they had a tail and like six fingers like it's just a hypothetical, man. Do you agree that these people would have moral value, or in your view they won't
I,
have moral value anymore?
I just don't accept this hypothetical because you cannot prove it.
I
That
mean,
we
like
can.
I don't know how useful this debate is gonna be if you're not gonna accept hypotheticals. I think hypotheticals are important in philosophy for a reason, because they get to the core of what we
Okay,
value.
okay. I will ask you a question. It is difference
Sure.
between humans and non-humans.
I mean, there's a lot of difference. I
Okay.
value humans more, but let me say that like
What is that difference?
there's plenty of differences. Like I
Okay.
don't know what you're asking me exactly.
So you prove my point that humans is different from non-humans.
Okay, like we like there's a lot of differences, but that in the ways that matter morally we are the same, I would say. In the ways that matter morally, and not
So,
the same, not the same, but they have similarities to us that wouldn't justify just killing them if we had other options. For example,
yes,
they are sentient, they can feel pain, they want to live. So I would say for those reasons it's not okay to kill them if we had other options, and we should extend at least basic rights because they are similar enough in the ways that matter morally, at least to
yeah,
me.
it's your interpretation. Yes, it's your opinion.
Sure. Do we agree that morality is subjective, or you think morality is
Yeah, yeah.
objective?
So what we exactly discussing? If,
Sure. I mean, I just want to know if veganism extends logically from your views. That's what I'm interested about, because I know that morality is subjective. So You keep saying that is my opinion is arbitrary. Like all moral
Yeah.
systems are arbitrary. I just want to know
Yeah.
if your moral system is consistent. I just want to know that if veganism extends logically from it, or if you're being inconsistent by not being vegan. That's my interest
Uh,
there.
but if consistency make your system moral, what is your point of consistency?
I think consistency is important for many reasons. For example, if you let inconsistency into your moral views, then you can justify anything. You could just appeal to an inconsistency and justify anything. Like you could say, yeah, like I value white people, but I'm inconsistent, so I'm just gonna not value blacks, or I'm not gonna value women. Like you can justify anything if you don't apply consistently your moral views.
Yeah, but I can change my moral views now.
Sure, you're gonna change them. What are your moral views now?
Yeah, because every moral system is consistent, independent, and you
Not
cannot.
necessarily. Not
Yeah,
necessarily.
all moral system is consistent.
What do
You,
you mean by that?
you can add additional premises to your moral system, and it will become consistent. If you trying to evaluate our moral system for your own moral system, it will appear that it is inconsistent. But I can create another moral system from which veganism will be inconsistent. Do you understand? It is
Yeah,
related
I
to each
understand
other.
what you mean, but I just want to know if from your moral system, the one that you currently hold, if veganism is a logical extension. That's
No,
is what the debate
for my
should
moral
focus
system,
on.
veganism is not his extension.
Sure, I wanna know. I wanna get to that. Like that's what we are questioning right now. So
Yeah,
that's why I asked you what's the morally significant trade difference there between humans and non-humans that justifies murdering them. You said it's just human, but
yeah.
then I was asking you about the hypothetical situation where the being in question wasn't biologically human
But
anymore.
you,
Would you
yourself,
value that being?
yourself said that there is difference between humans and non-humans. I already prove your point.
And
And
I mean, there being differences between humans and non-humans doesn't justify just
it's your opinion.
holocausting. Like, there's differences between humans. Do you agree that there's differences between humans?
Humans, yeah, race,
Sure,
height,
there's race, there's gender, there's height.
yeah.
Do those differences justify holocausting some of them?
Depend on your moral system. For
Of
example,
of
for
course. I'm asking
for
about your
Hitler,
morals.
it is okay with killing Jews.
Exactly, I agree with that. But is it okay for you?
Okay is really arbitrary
Yeah, but
definition.
you were the one that used that word for Hitler. You said it was okay for Hitler to kill Jews.
Yeah.
Is it okay for you?
Uh, for my view, no.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm interested about. I know there's a lot of moral systems. I know that it is subjective, but I want to know from your moral views if veganism extends logically, and that's why I'm want to get to the core of what you value. That this is why I'm asking those hypothetical questions.
Yeah,
Okay,
but
so are you gonna give me an answer about that? Like, because I feel like we're moving from the topic right now.
I think so that if you accept that morality is subjective,
Yeah, but this is not
uh,
what the debate is about. The debate proposition is not whether morality is subjective.
but if you accept that if morality is subjective, then you cannot prove that veganism is morally superior.
Morally obligatory. So
Obligatory.
I just want to know if it's morally obligatory from the moral views that you already hold.
From my views, no.
Okay, so let's can we examine that, because I disagree. I think we might find an inconsistency there somewhere. Can we try?
Yeah, you can try, probably fail.
Sure. Sure, I could fail. Like you could hold a view that it is consistent. Like I can agree with you that some people can hold a view that is consistent. Like for example, if somebody valued intelligence, and like for they would say that intelligence is the morally significant difference, but they will accept that healing mentally disabled people is okay. I think that view is psychopathic,
Yeah.
but it is a consistent view.
Oh,
I just want to know if your view is consistent.
yeah. What do you value? Why you
Well,
don't eat animals? What is this trait of yours?
okay, so the trait of mine is sentience. I think that's what significantly, morally, the morally significant difference between plants and animals. Like animals can't feel, think. They don't want to live because they're not sentient. They don't have central nervous systems. Animals, on the other hand, like they're similar to us in that way, in which they can, they feel pain. They want to live. And for that reason, I think we should grant moral value to animals, from my point of view.
But if I apply this to name the trait, I will get that you are inconsistent. No?
Can you repeat that? I didn't catch that.
If I apply your trait, name the trait logic, I will get that you are inconsistent. No?
In what way?
I will ask you a question. Will you eat dead human without sentience?
I wouldn't personally, but not because I see a moral problem with that. I just think it's disgusting, but I wouldn't see a moral issue with eating somebody that's not sentient. Like, for example, there's people that are born without a brain. It's
Okay,
called
you don't
anencephaly.
answering my question. Will
Okay.
you eat dead human?
I don't see a moral problem with eating a human that is not sentient.
Okay. Okay, you're consistent.
Sure, like I just want to test consistency. This is the point. And if
Yeah.
you found a plant, like for example, if you found a plant that was sentient for some reason, I would say it's wrong to eat that plant.
Oh, what is sentience?
Yeah, so the definition of sentience is just having a capacity for subjective experience of the world. So just having that subjective reality and being able to think, feel pain, pleasure,
What is
have a will to live.
subjective experience? Because it is a philosophical term. How in uh, biological words, how to define sentience?
Okay, so it would be something like consciousness. Do you agree that consciousness exists, or are you a solipsist?
What is consciousness?
I would define consciousness in the same way I define sentience. It's just the ability for subjective experience.
But
That's a scientific definition, by the way.
but in biological terms, what is consciousness and sentience?
Yeah, so sentience is just having.
Subjective is a philosophical term. You cannot use it in definition.
Is having something to be like that thing. Like for example, do you agree that humans have consciousness? They have a subjective experience. Yes or no?
If you don't define what is that, I cannot answer this question.
Yeah, so I just defined it. Why didn't you understand about that?
What is subjective?
Okay, so it would be like mind independent. So, no, not mind independent. Sorry, mind dependent. So it would not be like, for example, can I look for the definition, because I don't have the definition. Can I look it up?
Yeah, okay.
Sure, let me look it up really quick. Okay, so I looked up the definition of sentience, because the definition of subjective was really vague, but the definition of sentience is, okay, so it's to have the capacity to be aware of feelings and sensations.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you agree that humans have the capacity to be aware of feelings and sensations?
I don't know. I don't want to go to this rabbit hole, but can you define aware?
Can you what?
Define aware.
Sure, let me look for the definition.
Yeah. If I remember, this respond to your environment, because I had this discussion.
Sure, I have the definition. What you define there, like, it's more intelligence, to be able to respond to stimuli, that's more like intelligence. The awareness is another thing. So awareness is this. Let me read it. So it's having knowledge or perception of a thing or fact. Like it's pretty much having the ability to perceive things. Again,
Yeah,
like subjectively. Yeah.
subjective. What's subjective means?
Sure, we can forget about that word if you want, but do you agree that humans have the capacity to
Yeah,
perceive things?
yeah. But by this definition, plants also perceive.
No, plants are able to respond to stimuli. They are not able to
What is
perceive.
different?
Sure. So, like for example, computers, calculators, they can respond to stimuli, but they can't feel, they can't think, they can't suffer. That's the
So
difference right there.
what means feel? What's feel?
I mean, man, I think you're being like a little dishonest here. Like, do you really think that humans can't feel, man?
Yeah, humans feel, but
Of course. Why the hell are we arguing about this? So, do you agree that
because
humans feel?
if you read the definitions of that, you will see that plants and even bacteria are sentient.
No, man. Like what I'm interested in, what I value morally is sentience. It's not being able to respond to stimuli. It's not intelligence. It's sentience. So having that subjective experience. That's what the only way people or animals can have subjective experience is by having a central nervous system, having a brain. Do you agree that like animals like us have brains?
How we from sentience jump to central nervous system?
Sure, because the scientific understanding is that the what makes sentience possible is having central nervous systems.
Are you sure?
I'm sure. Yeah, I can send you the Cambridge Declaration of Consciousness. Like a group of neuroscientists debated this topic, and they came to the conclusion that animals are conscious like humans.
Conscious? But what it means to be conscious? To have a central nervous system?
I mean, man, I think we're getting off into the semantic weirdness here. Like,
Yeah.
can we just like get to the bottom of this?
Okay.
Do you think humans can feel? Do you think humans have awareness? Yes or no?
Yeah, yeah. See, just for the sake of discussion, let's assume that.
Okay, let's not only assume that, but let's get plants out of this definition of sentience and awareness. Do you agree that plants don't feel pain and suffer and want to live?
Oh, plants feel pain. Yes.
Do you think plants feel pain?
Yeah. 100 sure. 100% sure.
How is that possible?
Do you know what pain is? What is the definition of pain?
Sure, let me look that up as well. I think it's a little bit of
I
dishonesty here, man. To be honest, but
I can from
let me look that up.
memory see that is detecting tissue damage. Pain is.
No, so I found another definition that accurately describes what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Let
it's
me look at it.
what causes
It's called
uh,
it's called
pain?
physical
Yeah,
suffering or discomfort.
pain
Yeah. So
uh, is tissue damage, and any life form, multicellular life form, have tissue damage receptors.
no, that's not the
Which
definition that I'm
without
going for.
that no multicellular life form could exist.
No, that's not the definition that I'm going for.
I can
Like I
go to
disagree. I
deep.
disagree. I disagree with that definition.
Okay.
Yeah, the definition that I'm using here is physical suffering or discomfort. Like plants can't suffer, they can't feel discomfort. Animals can, like us.
So we
Like
don't agree on definitions, yes?
yeah, like I don't know how useful it's gonna be if we're gonna literally disagree and if plants feel pain, man.
We,
Like, do you honestly hold this view that like plants can suffer like animals?
I would say that plants have pain receptors.
No, not pain receptors. They can respond to stimuli. It's different. So let me ask you this. Do you think there's a difference between biting an apple and stabbing a dog's throat open and kicking that dog and making the dog suffer, burn him with fire? Do you
Why
think there's a
you
difference?
so emotional things bring here?
No, no, I'm not. I'm not emotional. I'm sorry. I'm walking right now, so I'm a little out of breath. I'm sorry if I seem
Yeah,
emotional.
you
Sorry
just
about that.
want to. I think so. Depends on the human moral system, but in both
Yeah. So
cases,
so I apologize. By the way, do you think I was being like I was being heated there?
no.
I'm sorry. Sorry
When you
about that. By the
say
way.
bite the apple and stab the poor puppy with additional emotional description of that
No,
behavior.
no, I'm not trying to appeal to emotions here. Like, sorry
Okay.
for the like if the misunderstanding. What I'm asking there is if there's a morally significant difference, not if there's an emotional reaction. I'm just saying if there's a morally significant difference between biting an apple and kicking or burning in fire a puppy. Do you think there's a morally
No,
significant difference there?
because it's puppy not human. Uh,
Can you repeat that
you,
answer?
uh, no, it's no difference because puppy is not human. But I want to add that if person who burns puppy will not have because it is tendency in human if human hurts animals it hurts people due to brain wiring. So if that human will hurt animals but not humans, I have no problem with that.
Okay, so let me ask you some questions about that. So you're taking the view that the only reason that it is wrong to burn a puppy alive from your point of view is because it harms other humans.
Because it's possibility that human will hurt our humans. Yes.
Okay, so I think like if you really hold that view, I think already like most people would be on my side because I think that view is a little psychopathic if you really hold that view. But let's keep
It
you
is
know let's
your
keep the
this,
debate for
this appeal to a majority. Your argument that other
sure.
people
I
will.
would say that's morality is something that people need to agree on because it has pro-social benefits. So if you're gonna hold a psychopathic view like that, I don't think
No, it's
most
not
people
a
most
psychic-
people would be turned off by that.
no, it's not a psychopathic view because I value humans. Our
Okay, man, but if you
psychopathic view.
if you're really, can I answer to that? Like, if you're really gonna hold the view that it's okay to burn puppies, like I
Yeah,
think most people are gonna be turned off by that. It's just my
yeah,
opinion. But can I ask you a question about that?
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So you're saying that the only reason it matters is because that it could be the case that that person then would harm a human.
Yeah,
Okay, so let's ask hypothetically. Let's say somebody only wanted to burn puppies and they would never harm another human. That person would
yeah,
be like completely against harming humans. He's really
yeah,
religious. He doesn't want to kill other people or burn them. He just wants to kill puppies. Would you say in that case it would be okay?
yeah. Okay.
Okay, so you're saying that from your views, it's okay to burn puppies alive, kick them, massively Holocaust animals, as long as we don't apply that same behavior to humans.
Yeah.
Okay, man. Like at least you're intellectually consistent there. So I find that view to be really morally abhorrent from my point of
What?
view. I think most people would agree with that, but
Why?
like I would say that we just hold a difference in values there. Like if you would say that's what your view is, like it is a consistent view. So I don't see any reason to go any further. Like you already bite the bullet on that. So like
No,
at
it's
least you're
not
consistent.
a bullet. This is your emotional evaluation of this one. But I will want to ask you a question. Why you value animals over plants? What you think? What is this evolution? What make you do so?
Sure, I'll answer that in a second, but I want just to clarify what you said there. Like, when I said bite the bullet, I didn't mean to like be offensive or anything. What you said, it was it had an emotional connotation there. Like I didn't mean that. What do you mean by that?
Because you're just trying, how to say, trying just bring behaviors that is appear to human disgusting, but we are not disgusting. You just feel like that.
Sure, man. Like I know that it seems that way. It seems like I'm appealing to emotions, but it's not really the case. Like for example, people can find things disgusting that are not wrong. Like for example, people can find homosexuality disgusting, but I don't have any moral problems with people being homosexual. So I'm not just appealing to emotion. I'm appealing to something that I think is morally wrong, not to emotion.
Okay, but do you know why humans value animals over plants?
Yeah, so let me ask you that question. Yeah, it's just because of sentience. Yeah, I put value on sentience. Plants are not
No, no,
sentient, so I don't see anything
but
wrong with
what is
eating them.
definition? What is explanation? Do you think? Do you think it is in the brain of ours?
Yeah, so it just has to do with some values that I hold. For example, I value three things like that I can think of. I value well-being, so I value maximizing well-being. I value minimizing suffering, and I also
Okay.
value not violating the rights of others. And those
Okay.
things only matter if sentience is present, because in order to feel well-being and to feel suffering, you have to be sentient. So that's the only reason why I see that morally significant difference between plants and animals and anything else like rocks, dirt. Like
Okay.
I
Okay.
don't see any moral value in rocks because they're not sentient, for example.
Yeah. Okay. But I will ask a few questions. Do you
Sure.
feel more empathy to dogs than to fish?
Yes.
Yes. And why you think so? It is,
Why do I
so.
think so? What did you ask me there?
Why it's so?
Yeah, I mean, it might be what you said there. Like, it might be evolutionary reasons. Like, I feel empathy for mammals more than I feel for fish, but like, I don't use that as a justification to kill fish needlessly. Yeah, I feel more empathy for them, but I don't see it as okay to kill fish if we have other options.
But from this point of view, if you agree that it's evolutionary, our brain is wired by evolution.
Sure, like I would agree
Why
there.
you then value animals? You can be logical here and say, no, I don't value animals.
Sure, I can answer that. So, like, I see a distinction there. Like, you're descriptively talking about how moral agency evolves. Like, I agree with you that, like, yeah, that's a description of how we feel empathy and stuff. But I wouldn't say that that's a prescription. I wouldn't say that because we feel a certain empathy for some beings, it is therefore okay to kill anything else that we don't feel empathy for. So that's the difference between an is and an ought. So you're describing how moral agency evolved and how it exists in our brains, and
Yeah.
then you're going from there to how to act. I don't see there a bridge there. I don't
Uh,
see how you cross that right there.
I just using pure logic here. If you understand your biological makings,
Sure, I just see that as an appeal to nature. Like just because we evolve certain way doesn't mean we have to act that way.
no, it's you appealing to nature, because
What do you mean?
you have empathy for animals, and you don't eat them.
Sure, I wouldn't say that it's just because I feel empathy. Like, I could be a psychopath. Like, for example, psychopaths don't feel empathy. I would still see something wrong with killing animals if we don't need it to, if we didn't need to, or if we had other options. Because what I value there is not empathy per se. It's just not making other beings suffer, or maximizing well-being and not
Yes,
violating the rights of other
yes,
beings.
yeah, it's empathy. I think so. I think that empathy to non-human animals is evolutionary mistake. Because
I could say that about empathy for other humans. Like, I don't care if it's a mistake or not. I'm just saying that we shouldn't harm beings if we didn't need to.
but if you don't wouldn't have empathy for non-human animals, you don't feel like that.
Okay, let me ask you something about that. Let's say somebody didn't have empathy for other humans. Like, let's say somebody was a complete psychopath. Would you see as okay if that person killed other humans if he didn't have empathy for other humans?
Yeah, you cannot prevent that.
Yeah, but would you say if it is okay from your moral views?
From my moral views, no.
Of course. So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about moral views. We're not talking about how moral agency exists or evolved. We're just talking about our moral systems right now.
I just want to dig deeper, to
Sure,
deeper
sure.
understand.
I understand where you're coming from, but I just don't. I just see a really significant difference there between, like, when we talk about things descriptively and when we talk about things prescriptively. Like, there's the is ought difference there, right?
Yeah, it is.
Sure.
But it is what is also arbitrary, because yeah.
Yeah, man,
Oh,
and we agreed with that since the beginning, that morality is subjective and arbitrary. I just wanted to know if veganism extends logically from your moral views, and we came to the conclusion that it doesn't. So you are consistent in that way. I admit that, but I wouldn't like advocate for those views, like like burning puppies in fire. I don't see that as morally okay at all.
okay. But uh, uh, do you think that rape is wrong?
Yes.
Uh, I have idea, uh, just from evolution that evolution optimize organisms for reproduction. Do you agree?
I agree. Yeah, that's why I don't appeal to nature. That's
Yeah,
why I don't care what we
yeah,
evolved to do. There's
yeah,
certain things that are wrong. Like, I agree with you that rape probably has evolutionary benefits. I don't see it as okay anyway. So, because
yeah.
there's no consent there
But
and there's suffering.
but if evolution hypothetically have found that rape is very good for reproduction, our brain would be wired to accept rape as good. Do you understand that your all understanding about your feelings is arbitrary also?
Sure, like, I agree with that. Like, for example, it might be true that rape has some evolutionary benefits. I wouldn't say that because of that description, therefore it's okay to rape. I see a big difference there between what is, like, empirically, what actually is, and how we should behave. Do you see that difference as well?
Yeah, but maybe you don't understand why I am talking. Just hypothetically,
Sorry about that.
yeah,
Can you repeat it again?
hypothetically, if evolution wired human brain accept rape as good, then we accept rape as good.
No, I wouldn't accept that.
You
Like,
don't,
we can if
because what you feel is what your brain is saying you.
No, like, if you want, you can formalize that into an argument, like into a set of premises and a conclusion, and let's attack it from that point of view. So, can you turn that into an argument, into a logically valid argument?
Okay, I will try to.
Sure.
I need to think. Okay, first we feel about behaviors of other humans depending on our brain wiring, how neurons is working.
Sure.
Yeah.
I accept that first premise there.
Okay, second one. Hypothetically, if evolution would wire your brain in different way, different behaviors would be good or bad differently.
Sure.
So the premise, if evolution would wire rape as good, we would think about rape as good.
Yeah, so I don't see any problems with that logically. Like the only problem that I have is with your conclusion that I would therefore think it is okay because evolution. Yeah, I would like let me clarify that. Like I would, my feelings would be that it is okay, but I wouldn't say that because I was evolved to do something, it would therefore be okay to do it anyways. So that's the difference there.
Okay, your point, okay, but how you are, but so how you determine what is good and what is bad? Don't using your brain, your feelings?
Yeah, so I just hold certain axiomatic values. Like for example,
Okay,
I think well-being is the thing that we should value, and minimizing suffering and not violating the rights of beings. And yes, these are arbitrary, but I think they are very useful and have pro-social benefits. For example,
yeah,
do you agree with that?
yeah, I think so that empathy is evolution way to make humans live in societies.
Sure.
Because because in society you cannot kill human, and during evolution, this crazy hypothesis of mine. But if some people begin to live in group, when it is reproductively inefficient to kill another human, and because you cannot survive, maybe reproduce. So evolution wired our brains to accept human killing as bad behavior, and all our
Sure.
behaviors is stealing and so on. All is adapted humans to live in societies. Maybe when humans was living by one, maybe they don't have such things, but I don't know.
Sure, like I agree with you there. Like human beings, we're social animals. So yeah, I
Yeah,
think there's biological reasons for empathy. But would you say the reason you don't kill other humans is because you have empathy for them, or do you have something else that you value?
probably yes.
Sure, like if you didn't have empathy, if you were born as a psychopath, it would still be wrong to go around killing people, right?
It depends on your moral system. Hitler was killing
Exactly,
Jews.
exactly. From your moral system, though, right?
It depends on you. On your Hitler was killing Jews, so we have
Yeah,
no
and
problem.
yeah, and I see that as wrong from my views, and you see it as wrong from your views too, right?
Yeah. Okay. So you say, see, this okay? This
Yeah,
is not
so
strange. It is arbitrary. Okay, everything is arbitrary. But when you're saying that the difference between humans and non-humans, and how you agree that is a difference, but how you behave with non-humans is also arbitrary. You see, I don't kill them and so on and so on. But I can also say that yes, it is a difference, but I will eat them. And how is
by the way, can I ask you something?
yeah, okay,
By the way, I agree with that. Like I never disagree with you that morality is arbitrary and subjective. I just wanted to know if veganism extends logically from your views, and if it's a moral obligation to you. We came to the conclusion that it didn't, but we never concluded really the human thing, right? Like if somebody had different DNA,
yeah.
would you say it's okay to harm that being, or would you still say it's not okay?
Oh, different DNA.
Yeah, just
I don't
different
know.
DNA. Just let's say 1%, just 1%, and like this being had like a tail or something, and they couldn't interbreed with us. Like, would you say it is okay to harm them just because they have like that percentage of difference in DNA? Are you there?
I think that 1% is very big difference. Maybe it's not even human anymore.
Yeah, like I
Chimpanzee
like
and human, I don't know how it's different.
yeah, I agree with that. Like chimpanzees and bonobos, they share like most of our DNA. Like let's say it's less than but 1%. It's just like I don't even know. But let's say that they couldn't interbreed with us for some reason. Would you say it's okay there?
Okay but
Okay to eat for hamburgers and to stab them to death.
yeah, of course. It's not if it's not human, you can do it.
Okay, man. So like I give props to you. You have consistency, but I would say those are, at least to me, those are crazy views, and they are. I would consider them a little bit psychopathic. I think there's reason for us to extend rights to animals because they share with us things that matter morally, like
Yeah.
the ability to suffer. But you don't value those things per se. You just value humanity. So you're consistent there. So like I would
But
say that the debate is finished there.
yeah,
Veganism doesn't extend logically from your views, and it's not a moral obligation to you. I would say, like most people wouldn't hold that view. Your view is kind of crazy to most people, but to you it is perfectly consistent there.
okay. So thanks for discussion, and have a nice day.
Sure, man. Like, I thank you very much. Like, I love having discussions like this. I'm sorry if I got like a little heated or something. I wasn't trying. I'm just walking right now. I'm out of breath. So it's all in good faith, man. Like
Yeah,
I really enjoyed the conversation.
yeah. Just okay. I was. It is my second discussion, so I was little bit nervous, and my English is not very good, but I have tried. Okay.
No, man. I thought your English was very understandable, and you didn't seem nervous to me. It seemed pretty good conversation, man.
I have sweet hands, but thanks
Yeah, sure,
for
man.
this.
Like, can I ask you about your first conversation? You said you had a debate with another vegan
Yeah, it is Thunder Bay trainer. Do you hear? Have you heard him?
from your country.
No. Online.
Oh, okay, and how did that go? How did the debate go there?
That was my first day, and was boiled down to nihilism.
Okay, boiled down to nihilism, like there's no reason to value anything, pretty much.
Yeah. For
Yeah,
me,
but the problem there is like I wouldn't appeal to nihilism to kill humans. Like for example, I wouldn't say nihilism, therefore it's okay to kill humans. I think it's still wrong to kill humans, independent of their being objective morality or not. I think it's still wrong. Like I don't think appealing to nihilism per se is a justification to harm anyone.
uh, do you want to discuss our topics?
Sure, we could discuss other topics in the future if you want. I'm going to get something to eat right now, but I'm happy to debate you again in the future.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
is there anything else that you wanna comment?
No, if you ask questions, it will be another topic.
Sure, let's agree on another debate in the future. By the way, do you want to share anything personal, your social media or something, or you want to keep it completely anonymous?
Anonymous, yeah.
Okay, that's cool, man. So, yeah, just have a great day, man. Thanks for taking the time.
Yeah. Thank you. You too. Goodbye.
Okay, goodbye.